Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Anne and I'm a full-time illustrator and best-selling author based in Los Angeles. I like to share my art process videos here while answering questions from my subscribers and you about art, life, and everything in between. My hope is that you can watch it for soothing vibes, but also listen to it like a podcast when you need. In today's video, we're having a Tomato Girl summer. If you haven't heard about Tomato Girl Summer, it's another aesthetic trend originating from TikTok, and it's all about having a Mediterranean coastal vibe summer, no matter where you are. So, in celebration, I'm painting tomatoes. I'm also answering a question I've gotten multiple times in multiple ways from you. How do I find time to make art? To answer that, here are 5 ways I found time to make art. Number 1. Take a sketchbook and pen with you wherever you go and draw while out and about. A little travel watercolors kit is also really good for this if you like to paint. I also like to bring a couple Tombow markers for a rough under sketch and then doing a final sketch with pen and ink. My favorite sketchbooks for this are Moleskines or Field Note sketchbooks, anything that fits in my bag. I like to travel light. You could also bring your iPad and draw in Procreate if that's more your jam. I like to draw with a pen so that I don't get caught up in erasing and perfecting and redrawing. It's all about observational drawing, and my favorite pens are actually just a cheap ballpoint pen from the hotel or the Pentel Pocket Brush pen, which just has a way of making everything look really fashion illustration-y and final and stylized without too much effort. And I find that the more I practice sketching on location, the better I get at drawing in general, because drawing from observation will always strengthen your observation skills. Number 2, have a weekly sketch club with friends over Zoom. Just gather a few of your art friends and do it over Zoom or Google Meetup, whatever you like. And one of my friends hosts a weekly Zoom at the same time every week, and we usually do figure drawings from YouTube videos or work on our own projects together. We don't even show each other what we're drawing. We're just kind of chatting and body doubling, as they say. And so a lot of the time we're talking about work or life. It's a fun, cool sketch time with your friends. It's better than having coworkers. And it also makes it easier to work when someone else and focus and make time for it when it's a social activity, so time passes without you even really thinking about it. Number 3, take a class. Either in person where you have to go on a regular schedule, like at your local community college, a workshop, or an extension class through your local college or art school. Putting up money and building a social schedule around it will help. If you can't take one in person, take one online, like my Skillshare classes or tons of other classes with amazing other teachers. And there's a link below for you to take a month for free, because there's a community there where you can hold yourself accountable by uploading projects, sharing in discussions, connecting with a teacher. You can always join a class that's running live online, meaning in real time where the teacher is responding to your projects and students are actively sharing their projects, because just having a community around your art making time and having something to hold yourself accountable for really will help you make time for it. Number 4, set up an art trap. Make it a part of your morning routine or evening routine. Now, if you listen to past videos, you might know what an art trap is. That's what I call setting up a permanent space where your art supplies can live and always be ready to go. You just need to sit down and start so that you make it really easy for yourself to start. There are no barriers to entry. Your paint and your sketchbook is already set up there, or your Procreate's already fully charged there next to your couch. And then you just need to pick it up and start sketching. So an art trap really helps you fall into it easily and get started. But making it part of your morning or evening routine is also something that will get you used to it every day, so that when you don't do it, you feel weird or off. Another way to do that is just to try to do this thing called habit stacking that I read from the book Atomic Habits, where one habit leads to another. For example, if you brush your teeth and then you floss, every time you brush your teeth, it prompts you to floss, or you feel off about it, or at least I do anyway. And that is something that you can set up with your art too, where if every morning when you get up after you brush your teeth and when you make your coffee, you have to sit down and sketch something, and you do that 21 days in a row, that's how long it takes to make a habit. And then you can pretty much set up that habit for yourself to succeed. And then number 5, pick or make a prompt list to draw through. Sometimes the resistance to finding time to make art is all the stuff building up to it, like setting up your supplies, which the art trap takes care of. But then it comes down to what to draw. And like I said, you could give yourself a challenge of finding one thing you want to draw every day as you go through your day. Or you can make yourself a themed list, like 30 days of flowers, 30 days of food. I just say 30 days because 30 days is in a month, and it's kind of a good amount of time to practice something and see how much better you'd get by the end of those 30 days, which can be really rewarding. I'd pick something that's relevant to your interests, like maybe you like animals, maybe you want to draw portraits better, but just so you have a list of things that are interesting to you. Also, you could use one of the prompt lists that circulate around social media, like the popular ones around October, like Drawloween or Inktober, or any month of the year you can find one. I'm pretty sure if you follow an artist that you like, someone's doing something. We make time for the things we really care about in life, and it's about incorporating a practice that makes sense for you and what you'll actually do. There's no right or wrong way to do it or for how long, so just kind of start. Like even if you're just starting for 5 minutes a day, one drawing, I wouldn't even measure it by time. Just give yourself an actual like hard result that you can see. Like maybe you're just drawing one bunch of tomatoes. That as soon as you give your start, you'll find that it's so much easier to keep going and doing the things you want and making the things that are important to you. Giving yourself a goal and a purpose will drive you. Okay, second question. I just don't know where to start, and I'm usually overwhelmed. I got this question so many times from people who don't know where to start. And I just want to go back to one of my 5 ways of finding time to make art. I feel that this is a huge hurdle for people when they want to make art. They just don't know what to make. And like I said, I'd go back to just something really simple. Make a list of things that you're interested in. Movies, plants, your house plants, animals, people. Or you could pick something, if you're a little more advanced, of something that you want to get better at. And I find that people is always something I want to get better at, or hands. And I would just practice. I don't sit down thinking, I'm going to make a perfect painting of hands. In fact, I just sit down and think, okay, I'm going to draw as many hands as I can in this sketchbook spread and make like a cool looking spread maybe. But like if it's not, that's fine too, because I'll just keep drawing hands until they look right. And if they don't look right, I will look up a YouTube tutorial. I will look up a Skillshare class, or I'll just study hands that other people have already drawn, because sometimes it's easier to learn from a drawing of something than trying to draw from a photo. It helps you understand like how to draw something better. And you can easily look those up on like Pinterest or Google, like drawings of hands, and then copy those and do master copies of those to help you understand volume and proportion and the breakdown. And what I would do is pick something like a subject that you're interested in, because you need to be interested in something before you get overwhelmed by it. Like you could love a lot of things, but you have to be interested in something to want to draw it. And just pick one thing, because I know it can be really overwhelming. But just remember, you're not making a masterpiece. You're doing this for practice. And every single person who has become skilled at their craft has practiced a ton and never showed anyone. And so what I would do is just fill up a sketchbook with a ton of practice drawings with a ballpoint pen, so that you resist the siren call of the eraser and the frustration of making something look right. And I promise you, if you draw something one day and then you're frustrated with it, but you keep going, the next day it's going to be a little bit better, and then a little bit better. I also think it's really fun if you like a piece of art, even if it is like some art you saw on Instagram. It can be really fun and low stakes to just do like a master copy of that drawing. I would never show it to anyone. I would just keep it in my sketchbook. I would never post it, but I would do it just for myself to learn how someone I really like the art of does something, and then learn how it looks like in my hand. And the thing is, like, you may not necessarily be trying to get it to look exactly the way they drew it, because you don't want to be a second-rate version of somebody else. You just want to get better at drawing. And I think that can be a really powerful motivator to draw like someone that you already like, but then draw like someone else you already like practice different artist styles, copy drawings from their books that they've released, and then soon enough you'll like merge into something that is wholly you. And I think the overall where to start is just feeling like you need to do something perfect the first time. And I totally get that temptation. That is something that does not necessarily go away, because there are days where I still feel overwhelmed and don't know where to start, even with my to-do list. But I do know there are things that I'm interested in right now. I doubt that I'm the only person who's this way, who has like obsessions for a while and then moves on to something else. And so it's like, take your thing you're most interested in right now and you just fully go into that and make art for that or inspired by that. If you just break it down, you're smart enough to know the tools to get to where you want to go. But you got to do that breakdown for yourself. Like if you want to get good at drawing cats, start looking up tutorials on how to draw cats. Draw your cat from observation. Figure out like what is the thing you can't get right. Maybe it's the head, maybe it's the face, maybe it's the body. And then you find the tools for that to help you get better too. It's just becoming singularly obsessed and focused on one thing you want to improve, and that can actually help you get started as well. And for the final question, it ties into this full theme of all these kind of roadblocks on the way to making art. And this is a huge one that I also got tons and tons of questions about, which is I'm a big perfectionist. Sometimes it's difficult to want to start a piece when I don't feel like it's going to be good enough. And I just want to say, you have to overcome that self-doubt. You have to overcome that perfectionism, because I can say over 10 years into my career, I rarely reach a point where I go, this piece is perfect, but I do reach a point where I say this piece is done. And there's a little bit of a difference in that, because I know now that nothing will ever be perfect. But the important part is that the process is wholly yours and something that you own. It's something that you go through. You feel like it's yours by the end. And I think the idea of something being done to the best of your ability now, that your taste can discern, that you feel like is done, because that's part of the practice, knowing when to stop, is more important than something being perfect. Done is beautiful. And then you also just want to remember, like, everyone starts off bad, but if you don't go through those awkward motions of being bad and accepting being bad, like, you got to do it just for the love of it. Otherwise, you don't really need to worry about this perfectionism, right? And that's why you care about it, because you really like it. And sometimes you just have to enjoy the thing that you're doing for the fun of it. I think that's really important. We got to like take productivity and like how good it can be. What's the point of that? I mean, you get satisfaction out of it, and the better you get, but that comes with practice. It has to come with practice. You have to start somewhere. You're not going to get better just sitting down and thinking, okay, today I'm going to make the perfect piece. You have to make 100 bad pieces before you get to a really good piece. Not even a perfect piece still, but a really good piece. And I would say, like, do the 100 pieces because it's fun, not because you're expecting it to hang in the Louvre. Like, that's not the purpose of art. The purpose of art for me is to just explore my human experience and share it with others so that they can feel less alone. You have to find your purpose for making art to begin with too, right? Even though I think inherently we are all creative creatures and we need to express ourselves as humans. And that is why I think we all need to make art and feel that inclination to, even if capitalism doesn't really allow the space for it. And in some ways I find that a great rebellion to make art, because it is not about feeding the capitalist system. So think about it that way. Every time you make art, you're being a bit of a rebel and saying that my time matters, my heart matters, and my art matters. And that in itself is a perfect reason to make art. And that makes your art perfect for its purpose. We can talk more about perfectionism. If you want to, leave me a comment on this video and we can chat about it more. Thank you so much for taking the time to spend some time with me today. I hope you enjoy the painting. I hope you enjoyed this conversation about all these important questions about motivation, art block, and finding ways to make art. And I hope you come away knowing that you are good enough and worthy of your own time and dedicating that to your creativity. Please remember to follow and like the video for more. Thanks. Bye.